Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're stepping into a truly quiet, incredibly sacred space. We're going to explore the profound spiritual discipline of parting, of divine trust, and of stepping into the unknown. We'll be looking at all of this through the beautiful lens of Sūrat al-Ṭalāq. We'll see how endings, when approached with true sincerity, with ikhlas, can actually become doorways to profound spiritual elevation.
To begin this journey properly, let's establish our sacred space and intention together. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge with God from the accursed Satan. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy.
I want you to just imagine a hushed room for a second. The kids are asleep, and a really hard sentence has just been spoken. The heavy question we're confronted with here is, what does mindfulness of God, taqwa, actually look like when love has just completely worn thin? When two souls literally have to lay down what they built together and walk away. You know, this is exactly the raw human vulnerability where Sūrat al-Ṭalāq begins.
And this brings us right to the core framing question of our explainer today. What does it actually mean to part well? The Quran answers this with breathtaking tenderness. It absolutely refuses to let parting turn into abandonment. Instead, it essentially builds this protective fence around a breaking heart to make sure nothing essential is lost.
So let's dive right into the linguistic root here. The word talaq comes from an Arabic root meaning to release or to set free. Interestingly, it's the exact same verb used for releasing a camel from its tether. And what's deeply moving is how the Sufis read this marital law. They look at it as a universal map for all of life's endings, whether that's releasing jobs, outgrown identities, or just old seasons of life that we need to let go of. Now notice the profound difference between the zahir, the outer law, and the batin, the inner spiritual reality. Outwardly, the Quran prescribes the iddah, right? A waiting period. It's basically a divinely calibrated cooling chamber to let the anger pass and to protect the vulnerable. But inwardly, on the path of tazkiyah or self-purification, this is really the discipline of staying inside boundaries to preserve the nobility of your own heart. It's about waiting expectantly upon the divine. And this crucial point is just beautifully captured by Imam al-Qushayri. He says the believer parts the way an angel parts, with nothing soiled in the leaving. I mean, wow. True adab, true beautiful manners, means holding on to God's limits even when your pride is deeply wounded. By choosing not to lash out, your heart stays unsoiled, making it fully capable of receiving God's grace. Which brilliantly illustrates the tender whisper of the Quran tucked right in the middle of these strict legal boundaries. لا تدري لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا. You never know, perhaps God will bring something new about. The text deliberately keeps the door of reconciliation, of unforeseen miracles, left just a little bit ajar. It's not a slammed door. Moving into the second verse of the surah, the legal tone suddenly modulates into the voice of the lover God. He promises a makhraj, a real, structural way out. God is promising that whoever is mindful of him is going to be granted a structural exit from literally every constraint of this world and the next. Notice how Imam al-Ghazali liberates the soul here. We so often fall into this human fantasy. You know, that exhausting belief that we've got to hammer on doors and forcefully engineer our own way out of a crisis. But the divine reality of tawakkul, a profound trust, is totally different. We just align our hearts with taqwa, and God is the one who provides the makhraj. We don't have to build the door, guys. We just align ourselves so grace can open it.
Then the verse moves to this beautiful, comforting promise. God will be sufficient. The word used here is hasab, and Ibn Arabi points out something amazing. He says hasab means exact sufficiency, not some overwhelming surplus, and definitely not a painful deficit. It is the perfect measure. It's realizing that God answers the heart's deepest longing with an exact fit.
Let's take a look at how this builds a sort of cosmic map through classical abjad numerology. The words for the waiting period actually reduce to 7, the number of divine completion. Makhraj, the exit, and tawakkul, trust, both reduce to 6, the number of creation. This shows that our human trust harmonizes perfectly with the opening of new realities. And risk, provision, that reduces to 1, because no matter how many places your provision seems to be coming from, it's always coming from the one single source.
Now, if we step from classical numerology over to modern science, we find something pretty remarkable. Modern attachment research by Mario Miklusincer actually confirms what the Quran prescribed 1400 years ago. It turns out the psychological trauma of separation is remarkably reduced by having exact chronological scaffolding. Having a set waiting period, shared boundaries, and a predictable structure minimizes the trauma response. It's literally what allows for a truly honorable release.
And this beautifully aligns with other sociological and psychological findings too. Constance Irons's concept of the good divorce directly mirrors the Quranic mandate of parting with honor. Carlton's research proves that sitting inside the unknown, keeping that door cracked open without prematurely closing it, builds immense psychological resilience. And Mark Granovetter's famous strength of weak ties perfectly mirrors the Quranic promise of provision arriving from completely unexpected horizons.
It even goes deeper into our biology. Cognitive neuroscientists have found that relinquishing outcomes, which is basically the very definition of tawakkul, actually downregulates the fear circuitry in our amygdala. And over in the world of physics, Paul Davies observes the fine-tuned measure of all creation. This perfectly echoes the Quranic statement that God has set a qadr, a precise measure, for absolutely everything. Yes, even your heartbreak.
So, O seeker, let's bring this directly into our own hearts. Ask yourself candidly right now, what ending are you currently inside of that you haven't timed with taqwa, whether it's a relationship, a job, or just an old version of yourself that you're shedding? How can you restore the honorable manner, the ma'ruf, to whatever transition you're currently facing?
Ask yourself this too. What door are you keeping deliberately closed in your own life right now? Have you maybe prematurely decided what God can and cannot do for you? Consider leaving just a tiny crack open for the unknown. For that, perhaps God will bring something new about kind of miracle.
And here is a really crucial check for our egos. Where are you totally exhausting yourself trying to engineer your own exit? Take a hard look at where you've been furiously hammering on doors unnecessarily. Remember Ghazali's wisdom here. Focus on your own inner alignment, your tawakkul, and let God be the one to open the door.
Finally, consider this gentle challenge. Where in your life are you, right now, asking for way more than is actually needed? Like, what would it look like to live just one single day, fully embracing God's exact fit sufficiency, His hasb, refusing to ask for the surplus, and just knowing that the beloved is the precise size of your longing? To help anchor all of this, let's walk through a practical, physical dhikr, a remembrance you can actually do. Slowly, over the next 7 nights, try reciting these verses. Place your right hand on your chest as you ask for an exit. Then, lift your palms slightly upward as you acknowledge unexpected provision. And finally, let your hand settle, palm down, on your heart as you affirm that He is sufficient. Let your physical body learn the trust that your mind is trying so hard to believe.
Close your eyes for a moment, if you can, and let this beautiful munajat, this whispered prayer, settle deeply into your soul. O opener of the doors I cannot find, teach my hand to release what you have already loosened. Count my waiting with your tender measure, and provide me in the end only with what is enough, which is you. Amen. Thank you so much for joining this explainer today. Compiled with gratitude by Mir Ali Shah, a seeker sharing through the Living the Wisdom of the Quran podcast. Please forgive any mispronunciations of sacred terms by this AI voice. We leave you with this final thought. Whatever ending you're facing right now, may your heart find its perfect measure in the divine. Until next time.